All right, all right, all right. Can you hear me, folks? Hello, can you hear me? I think you can. It says I'm live. And how on earth are you doing? We are indeed live, I think. It's ahoy to you and welcome from me. I am David Connolly, the web developer extraordinaire. Excuse my demeanour. Don't I look like a guy who has just shoddily thrown some clothes on, jumped in front of a camera, and all of that stuff? How you doing? Jonas is here. Hello, Jonas. It's ahoy to you. Hail to Jonas and hail to Kyle. Always positive. And hail, of course, to Dan's stuff. The force is strong with Dan's stuff, and he knows what I'm talking about. How are you all doing, folks? It's very, very good to see you here. I should say, I think we're public. Yeah. I apologise for not doing too many videos this year, at least not too many public ones. I think the last public video that I put out there was talking about how I almost gave up. And that was all true. And the feedback was spectacular. I really, really appreciate it. I think I got about, I don't know, I got a whole bunch of messages and everybody was super cool. And I super appreciate it. And thank you very much indeed, you know. Now, I haven't done too many videos this year because I've spent most of the year working on an AI system. Now, the title of this video is Lifting the Lid on the Big AI Scam. And I love doing videos like this because I did a poll earlier on today. I asked the folks, I says, how do you feel about the following statement? AI is a scam. And I had some options, strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. Well, I can tell you that 44% of you disagree, and 44% disagree, and 33 strongly disagree. So that means 77% of you do not agree with the statement that AI is a scam. Well, I'm not sure if I agree with it either, but I think that I can probably move the needle a little bit, and I think that I can definitely give you some interesting information that will probably change the way that some of you folks are thinking about AI. Now, you're probably expecting a AI's rubbish type video or something, or coding is dead. Allow me to bore the tears out of a few of you very quickly by just giving you a few credentials. I've been a developer, as some of you know, since before they had a name for it, a long time, and I am up to my eyeballs in AI. I mean, here's my to-do list. That was yesterday. See how it says at the top AI and then AI and then AI, and it's ticked. I'm working on AI all the time. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you what I'm working on just yet, but maybe in the future that'll happen, maybe even within the next month or so. I can assure you I am really knee deep in all of this AI shenanigans, and this is not, I repeat, not the type of channel where we come on and say, oh, coding is dead and stuff like that. This is not a soap opera channel. There are plenty of other people doing a great job at that type of thing. I'm more into tutorials, so I don't normally do this type of content. However, I wanted to do something because I'm busy. And I wanted to do something just to let you know that I'm still alive. And hopefully, I can give you some information that will indeed be useful. Excuse me, hay fever is here. All right, just an itchy nose, no big deal. Anyway, so I am indeed up to my eyeballs in this. Now, I've said for a long time, Stefan, good to see you, Stefan. Welcome, Stefan. Welcome to you. I've said for quite a long time that AI is a bit like for us web developers, it's kind of like a tornado that has smashed through everything. And I don't know about you, but I've been looking at this tornado and thinking, when's this going to stop? Are we going to like chill out and have any type of normality? Or are we on some exponential curve that leads to some kind of, I don't know, robot nation? What on earth is going on? Well, like many of you, I've kept a little bit of an eye on YouTube, and you'll know that there's a whole bunch of channels that have sprung up. I can't remember the name of one of them, but it seems to me like every day there's a new AI breakthrough. Every day, another new model, another new incredible must-have. And it's as if we've got this vortex with stuff that comes in, and it's the most awesome thing ever. And then a very short space of time later, we move on to the next new thing. And I think that the time has come to, and I really don't want to swear here, but I really think that the time has come to submit a declaration of bullshit. And I'm going to explain, or mansplain, if you like, why I've come to this conclusion. So, if you think about AI and the types of things that AI is being used for, some of us, for example, have been using AI to produce code, and that's kind of cool. You can use AI, of course, to generate pictures, to extract text and produce transcripts, let's say, from videos like this. You can use AI to do all kinds of things. I even saw an AI thing recently that generated songs, musical songs, and you would choose the style and give it a couple of ideas, and it would produce a song. And to me, it sounded pretty good. All of that stuff is very cool and very impressive. I like it. I like it a whole lot. But there's another type of AI, is there not? This is the one that we're all secretly, in some cases, thinking, I wouldn't mind getting into that. And what is this other type of AI? Well, somebody's going to correct me, I'm sure, and tell me that I'm not using the right phrase, but I'm going to go with the phrase AI agents. This is where you basically have a computer set up somewhere, and you do that, and you hit a little button, head on out, and the thing is going to just tick away, generating revenue, a bleeper, you know, bleep, bleep, you're going to come back, your bank account is going to be exploding and all of that stuff. This is the type of AI that many of you folks are looking at, and you're thinking, hey man, we could do this. This is going to be great. I've seen some people talking about how it's like having a PhD researcher on your computer. This is the type of AI that I want to talk about today. It's actually the type of AI that I've been working on. You'll probably see me doing a demo of something at some point. And when that happens, some of you will say, hang on, you said all of this stuff was bullshit. Well, I'm not really. It's just that there's a big, giant white elephant in the room and nobody's talking about it. So when I release my thing, and yes, I have built a thing, it's going to be subjected to the same challenges that everything else is. The difference is I'm just going to be honest about it. And what is the challenge? What is the big white elephant in the room? Well, I'm about to break some hearts, but let me just spell it out. Now, I was talking to a very respected friend of the channel. I'll keep him anonymous on this occasion. But you know who this person is, and we love him and respect him. He has been a programmer for many decades. And last night we hooked up, we were chatting, sharing the screen and all of that stuff. And he was showing me a couple of the new AI things that are going on. Now, I'm spending a lot of time working on AI, but just to let you know, I'm not the type of guy that logs on to YouTube and says, what's the next best thing? I'm building the stuff without all of that other stuff. I'm just looking at something, oh, I like that, and I'll build it. And yes, I am that good. But my good friend, he comes at it from a different angle. He really keeps his finger on the pulse. He seems to always know about the latest new technologies and what's out and all of this stuff. And he's very, very awesome. And I don't want to mess with him, that's for sure. Now, he was telling me yesterday about this thing called N8N. Have any of you heard of it? N8N. And he said it was a workflow creator or something of that description. I never really knew what it meant. And I said, hang on, is that like, now forgive me, I'm gonna type this in and get the name right. Yeah, I said, is that like Manus AI? Do you remember that one? Came out a few months ago. The idea is you could do a search for find the best holidays in Barcelona or something. And this incredible AI system would say compiling and all of that, and it would send you screenshots and do all of that stuff. And then it would say, here's a list of the best holidays, right? It was awesome. Now, about 2 or 3 months ago, that Manus thing was really in the center of the vortex. In fact, there were people selling the usernames and passwords for early access on eBay and selling them for quite a pretty penny, you know? So people were going hysterical over this thing. I saw it and I thought, that's pretty good. And I got on the list and I got accepted. So I was one of the early access guys, and that was useful because it helped me to look at it and then kind of build one myself. Maybe you'll see that at some point. But I have to say, I was incredibly impressed by Manus. That's M-U-N. No, pardon me, M-A-N-U-S. Maybe you've heard of it. I'll just make sure I've got that right. So I thought this was awesome, and I thought this is the future. This is going to be fantastic. And even though I made the decision that I can probably build something like this myself, I was thinking, you know, they've been good enough to put me on this list, and I love the product, by the way. And I thought, if this thing comes in at a reasonable price, you know, I might actually get it, you know. So I waited and waited, gave it a little try and all the rest of it. And eventually the pricing came out. And the pricing was, I think it was $38 a month. But I'm going to express the pricing in terms of what you get, because X tokens is meaningless. So let me tell you how the pricing worked out for me. I did the calculation, and hopefully this will be something meaningful. So one of the things that I wanted to build was a car leasing comparison website. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry here in the UK. And last I checked, 2, maybe 3 of the sites that are page 1 for car leasing, I've worked for them. I know the industry. I know how their quote systems work and how vehicle ordering systems work. And, you know, I've worked with the CAP database and all of that stuff. I know what type of traffic they're getting and their click-through rates and all of that type of stuff. So I thought to myself, I'm going to use Manus, and I'm going to build a quote thing that finds the best car leasing quotes. Find me the best BMW, and it's going to say, here you go. And then I'm going to launch it, and I'm going to take over the whole darn industry. That was what I was thinking. So I did a search. I've got this on video, but I'll just give you the results. I did a couple of tests. Find me the best quote for a BMW 3 Series, this term, this mileage, this initial payment, and I'd like a saloon. And I tried it. And the good news is, Manus was fantastic. It did a really, really great job. 3 cheers. I was blown away. And I was surprised. The challenge is, I go back to the pricing thing. It turns out that for the monthly subscription fee, if you take on board, and I'm not interested in tokens, let's never mention tokens because it means nothing to me. Probably doesn't mean much to you. And here's where the rubber meets the road. I did the calculation. If I paid the subscription fee, then for that, let's just call it $40 per month. For the $40 per month, you get to ask 12 questions. 12 questions. Now, I'm sure that if your question was, what is the capital of France? Maybe you'd get 1,000 questions. I'm quite sure that the 12 questions was just me being awkward and asking these difficult questions. I mean, it's a complicated question, right? Find the best car leasing deal. You have to get the term, mileage, initial payment. You have to see if there's maintenance fees. You have to see, do a little calculation, get lease cost per mile, and it goes on and on and on. So it's kind of a tricky question. Nevertheless, to charge $40 for 12 questions is ridiculous. I know for a fact, from experience, that if you're going to get a kick of the ball in that particular sector, and I know a lot about it, you're going to have to be dishing out, let's just say, thousands of quotes per day. If you want to go and start competing with the big boys, and I know because I built a few of their sites, you're going to have the ability to dish out thousands of quotes per day. In other words, the Manus system is virtually useless for that type of thing. Now, here's the thing. If you are watching from the team Manus AI, please don't be offended. I'm not in any way criticizing your skill set or your integrity or anything. I think what they have built is fantastic. In fact, I think that they have conducted themselves in a manner that is exemplary, because there's actually a huge problem and they haven't solved it and nobody has solved it, and I cannot find anybody talking about it until tonight. You see, when the team from Manus AI decided we're going to charge best part of $40 per month for 12 questions, and by the way, they've recently reduced their price, which tells you they've possibly got challenges. When they made that decision, I don't think that they were being greedy. I do not think that they were being greedy. I don't think that they were being stupid or unethical or anything. I think that's just an honest price. I think that's what you have to pay. And why is that? Well, it's to do with the quality of the data. Now, let me take you back to the N8N, and I'm sure I'm not saying it in the hipster way, but this was the thing that I got told about last night, and I've been told that Manus is old, it's history. Forget Manus, we've moved on. We're now doing the N8M thing. Okay, so let me just chuck that one on the chopping block. Quite an easy thing for me to deal with, actually. So I looked up this N8M thing. I was curious to see what all the hype was. In fact, I was like, how can you beat Manus? To be clear, I'm a Manus fan. I like it. I love it. But I was like, how can you even beat that? And I did a search on YouTube, and what did I run into? A whole bunch of videos of people saying, build an AI agent. I built a business. I have a team. Make money while you sleep. And all of these videos that were incredibly, I don't know if the word's sensationalistic, you know, but let's say they were quite excited, it seemed, you know. And I clicked onto one of them. I'm not going to name the video, but it was one of the ones in the top of the rankings. But the guy's not here to defend himself. Truth be known, there was dozens of videos like this, so there's no need to pick on any particular person. But I clicked on this one video, and it was somebody giving a demonstration of 5, I can't remember the words that he used. It might have been workflows or examples, who knows what. Let's just say 5 things that you can do with N8N, and you can go and sell this stuff. And the guy had said in the video, I'm going to show you 5 things that you can build with this, and you can sell these models. I think that was the word he used. He said, you can sell these for $1,500. And then he went through them. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. It would be a boring video. But I'll pick maybe 1 or 2 and then highlight what I see as being a couple of difficulties. Now, one of the examples that he chose, and this was a thing that you can apparently sell for $1,500. He said, let's imagine that you want to compile a report about the health benefits of beekeeping. This was the example. He says, well, I can go in here, and he shows you this beautiful thing, and it's like they're all joined up, you know, look like the structure of some molecule or something. He says, this is my workflow. He said, I type in here, and it's really fast, whatever he was doing. He says, and that goes here, and that checks this, and then this goes to that, and then this checks the web, it finds articles about beekeeping, it extracts the data, rewrites them, does a handstand, and voila. What a fantastic demo. It was really quite impressive, and it was impressive enough that a lot of you folks would have looked at that and thought, that's really awesome. And it was a pretty awesome demo. But you see, there is a little fly in the ointment, a little turd in the punch bowl. And forgive me if I've just rained on the parade. But in case you haven't figured it out yet, the health benefits of being a beekeeper is not high value data. It's very low value data. What does that mean? Well, I'll be as quick as I can. I know that you've all figured this out. You're all developers, right? So if you think about somebody who's going to write an article about that, somebody woke up, I'm going to write about the health benefits of being a beekeeper, right? Everybody who's writing that type of content will be posting it on some blogging site, maybe a news website or 2. But you're talking about sites like kind of WordPress type sites. Those types of sites are fantastic if you're in the business of scraping data, right? If you and I as developers, if we want to fetch the data from a site, please be on a WordPress type site, a blog site, that type of thing. And so if you're choosing a topic and you're going to demo, like I'm going to compile a report on the health benefits of beekeeping, well, forgive me, but I'm a little bit underwhelmed. Because the fact of the matter is, everything that the thing done, you could do it with normal web development techniques. In fact, I'll even give you the name of the function. File get contents ought to do it if you're talking about PHP. So it's low value data. Where we get into difficulty is when we start talking about high value data. An example of high value data would be car insurance quotations. Now, I'm not sure how it works in other parts of the world, but here in the UK, there's a handful of really big players in this field. Some of you may have heard, at least in the UK, you may have heard of websites like confused.com, elephant.co.uk, Compare the Market is another, right? These are massive, massive sites that make fortunes. If I had a telly in here, I could switch it on and an advert will almost certainly come on for one of those big, massive companies. Now, when it comes to those types of systems, and I have dealt with one or two, and especially as well, we're talking about things like quotes for home insurance, that type of thing. You go to any one of those sites, and please be my guest. You go to any one of those sites, and what you'll find is that traditional web scraping does not work. It simply does not work. That's a fact. You think about the car insurance market. In order to get access to that and get a quotation, I did it quite recently. You have to go through all of the different steps. You have to sign up. You have to confirm your email address. You've got captchas and all sorts. Now, it's possible, for all I know, that somebody has figured this out. Maybe there's a little WordPress plugin, you know, who knows? Something for getting by all of that stuff. But ask yourself this. If you were in charge of something like a car insurance website, let's say, right? And your job was make sure that the quotes only go out to real human beings. And that's your job. I think you could do it. I think you could do it quite easily, actually. I think it would be an easy day's work. Because I haven't done a car insurance website, but I have done a lot of car leasing websites. They use the same database, right? You know, it's a company called CAP. That's where they get their data from. I know the gig inside out, right? And the people who are running those types of websites, they are keeping a really, really close eye on the traffic, and they're looking at the IP addresses and everything. In fact, I remember going to the home of a guy who owns one of the top sites in the UK, and I went in his home and he had a big screen on the TV with a chart showing you all of the stats live. The people behind these sites are absolutely obsessive about this type of thing. And I'm doing myself an injustice. I have done an insurance website as well. I did a site that does motorbike insurance. It was the same story there. You go in the call centre, they're watching everything. Now, the perspective of the owners of those websites is that their data is their product. That's everything they've got. And I'm telling you, they're not going to give you it on a plate. They're not. They're just not. And it's not just insurance. It's things like stock market quotations. Now, sure, you can go to Yahoo Finance and all of that. But if you are a hardcore day trader with a hedge fund of many millions, you're probably not going to be going to Yahoo Finance. You're probably going to be using something a whole lot more sophisticated. You might be looking at the amount of orders in the book, all of that type of stuff. Very, very sophisticated, fast-paced stuff. And to get access to that type of data, I'm telling you, FileGate Contents ain't going to cut it. So all this is a very long and slightly waffling way of telling you that these get-rich-quick schemes, and that's what they are, these get-rich-quick schemes that I'm seeing on YouTube where somebody says, I built this flow, I sold this for $1,500 and so can you. They're actually misleading you. And they're misleading you because all of their examples are low-value data. In the case of Manus, going back to that, and to their credit, Manus had high-value data. They managed to have the thing that checks the site and all of that. It even gives you screenshots. The challenge is, in order to access the high value data, you need to be able to access a browser in a computational sort of way. Now, you can do that with a headless browser, or with something like Electron, or even with a Chrome extension. My own personal preference, in case you're wondering, is Firefox Manifest v2. So there's a variety of different ways of controlling computers so that you can hit a button and I've built the thing, you know. You hit the thing and the computer over there starts looking at it. I actually built it quite a long time ago. I built one that checks the job market and stuff. It's no big deal. But the thing is, that type of stuff is a very far cry from let's look up beekeeping health reports. And the bottom line is that in order to get the high value data, you now have a massive computational problem, and it's a problem that nobody has solved. The Manus team, and again, I wasn't having a go at them, I applaud their honesty, because they've charged a pretty high price, and I think that's accurate. They've obviously looked into this and thought, well, if people are going to be using this and it's a lot of resources, I guess that's the price. And one of the things that concerns me is that I think that there are a lot of people going into this AI game who are running their business as if it's a gymnasium. Do you know what I mean? So, as I'm sure you've heard, gymnasiums have got a really strange business model. I don't know if you're in a gym or not, but I'll tell you one thing. Nobody here has ever received a letter from a gymnasium that says, hey, we haven't seen you around in a while. We thought we'd just remind you that you're a member and would love it if you could come down and use the gym. Nobody has had that letter. And that's because the entire business model of a gymnasium depends upon, I think I looked it up one time, it was something like it depends upon typically 80 to 90% of the members not turning up. If you happen to have a gymnasium in your neighbourhood, and then one day 100% of the members start turning up, that's the end of the gymnasium. It becomes useless. Can you imagine it? Just big queues of people all waiting to get a shot of the cycling machine or whatever. So the whole gymnasium business model is a very well documented fact. It depends upon people not using the service. It's the same with a lot of the AI businesses that I'm seeing. I actually got a couple of subscriptions. I got Claude and I got Grok. But I remember when I got the Claude subscription, I think I paid $20 a month for it. Almost immediately, I saw these, I don't know if it was adverts or tweets, I couldn't even tell you what it was, but let's just say I saw these value propositions with people online saying, hey, give me, I think it was $10 or $5 a month, and you'll have access to Grok and ChatGPT and this and that and that. So why pay the 20 for Grok? And I looked at that and I thought, how are they doing that? Now, I actually don't have the answer. But I'll tell you what, I have a suspicion that somebody out there is running a gymnasium business model. My speculation in that particular case, I might be wrong, but my speculation is that's somebody who has got an account with Grok, let's say. They've probably got 5 Mac Minis in the corner of the living room, and they know that they can sell these monthly memberships at $5 a pop, let's say. It's a no-brainer, right? And you run them in the corner of your room, you sell a bunch of memberships, and you know that you're only going to get like 2% of the people actually using the thing. And if you get a little traffic spike, you can deal with that when it happens. But it's the gymnasium model. And I'm seeing it everywhere. And so the challenge for anyone who's going into AI is that it requires massive amounts of computation to do the types of things that you and I want to do. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to start compiling essays about the health benefits of beekeeping, congratulations, go make your millions. But to those of us who are looking at this and saying, I'm going to build this agents and have PhDs and make gazillions, I don't think it's going to happen. Forgive me if I'm spoiling the party, but I think that you should temper your expectations. That's pretty much where I am on this. Now, let me look at the comments, and that's my opinion. I wonder what yours is. So here we go. Giro's here from Iceland. Ahoy to you, Giro, and welcome. Now, I'm looking at the comments, and I can see already one or two names being dropped. Jonas, the great Jonas, how are you doing? He mentions Cursor. We have Dan here saying, how was your experience using AI agentics? There's so many things. Folks, I'm going to level with you. I don't even know what half of those things are. I've heard of a whole bunch of them, but my brain's pretty good at saying, do I really need this? Probably not. The point is that I don't believe it. When I see people on YouTube, we could do a search right now for something like AI agents, and you'll see tons of people on YouTube saying, hey, check this out. You can sell these models for $1,500. I sold this. Somebody said I made 70 grand with this model. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You are talking a load of rubbish. It's just like when I got into stock market trading in 2018. I went to a seminar and got a couple of ebooks and stuff. And I got exposed to a whole universe full of people saying, buy my system and I'll show you how to trade the stock market and how to beat the market. Those videos are everywhere. They still follow me around, I think I must be on some kind of a list. But you do realize the problem, right? If somebody, come on over, He-Man. If He-Man here has come up with an incredible system for playing the stock market, well, the first thing is, why on earth is he going to tell me? Why is he going to tell anybody? But the second thing, and some of you might need to think about this for a while, is that the moment he tells me what the system is, we are not equal. The moment He-Man discloses his winning stock market strategy, I now know what he's going to do, but he does not know what I'm going to do. And so, this is something that people who are into stock market trading have long figured out. In short, why, if you have some incredible money-making system, why would you go and share that on YouTube? Especially for free. And of course, some of them have got courses and things as well. But if any of it is honest, if they really are standing by those claims, oh, I made thousands. Oh, somebody paid me so many thousands for this thing. Right, I have a question. Where is your super yacht? Show me it. Show me the super yacht. Oh, you've not got a super yacht. Okay, how about a helipad? Let's just lower the bar. Where is your... Oh, you don't have a helipad? Okay, how about your Lamborghini? Anybody see any Lamborghinis here? Me neither. So beware, my friends, beware. I'm not saying that AI is going nowhere, or that, we're all going to go back to the way things are. But I think that, as much as I hate to admit it, I think Steph Mischuk was right. AI is a tool that can help you to get stuff done. But that's about it, really. Now, I must be a Kentucky Fried Idiot, because I'm currently working on an AI system. I'm hoping to have it finished by the end of the month. And I'm hoping that I can get an investment off of somebody who's probably watching. Hello. His name's David as well. He's probably watching. And you might be thinking, well, if you're in the game, if you're building these systems, and I am, by the way, I'm not subscribing, and I'm building the thing. That's my personality, right? So you may be saying, well, if you're actually in the game and you're hoping to get invested, who knows, maybe I'll pitch the thing to you guys, right? Why would you come on and de-vibe the whole thing? The answer is because the people who watch this channel, and the people that I'm dealing with, and the people that I'm referring to, are really, really intelligent. They can see through bullshit a mile away. And the truth of the matter is, they've probably figured this out anyway. They're probably looking at me right now and saying, what took you? We'd figured this out ages ago. And they're right. So, yes, I am involved in AI shenanigans, and I'm hoping that I can do something with it and all the rest of it. And it's a shame that, in a way, I have to. It's almost like barging in on a party and saying, hey, turn the music down. It's a bit of a damper. But I'd rather do that and uphold my integrity than play along with some charade, some nonsense, some get-rich-quick scheme. And so, my friends, I think that's pretty much all I've got for you. I'm not going to say that AI is a scam. But if I can convince somebody that AI is a scam, I'll be happy. Because I might just save you a whole lot of money and heartache and everything. We really should lower our expectations with this stuff. Now, that's pretty much the critique. What do you think? Did I do a good job? Do you agree? Or am I completely losing the plot here? I got in touch with my friend who told me about these incredible technologies this morning, and I said, look, I think it's a scam, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to do a YouTube video because I don't want you to think I'm having a go at you. I'm still in on it. I love the technology and I respect you. It's just that I'm seeing a lot of scammy stuff out there, and somebody has to call this out. Now, I will never offer a criticism without offering a solution. So what is the solution? How do we move forward? How do we make sense of all of this? Okay, the first thing is that, you know how I said AI is like a big hurricane going through web development? I am officially announcing as of today that the hurricane is now moving on. It's moving on, and the time has come for us developers to pick up the pieces and cobble together, hopefully, some sort of career or something that is useful. It's funny how I've got my He-Man character here. Have any of you saw the cartoon? I love the cartoon. I still watch it. It's on YouTube. And there's these little talky bits at the end where he says, today we learned blah, 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 blah. And there's one of the episodes on YouTube where he actually warns about get-rich-quick schemes. Obviously, he doesn't use the phrase, but he says something like, stop looking for shortcuts in life. Nothing beats honest, hard work. And that's where we are. And hallelujah. Hallelujah. I should say, by the way, speaking of hallelujah, congratulations to the Catholics. They have a new pope today, I saw. I did see a little bit of disappointment. People were, I think, hoping for a more conservative pope. And I don't think they got it. Well, at least you get a conservative developer. At least you got that. Because I'm not getting on this hype train. I think it's only a matter of time before people realise what I've realised. And the funny thing is, you remember I mentioned the Manus team with their $40 per month, this astronomical fee, right? If they were here tonight and they said, what should we do? Because in order for this stuff to work properly, we need to get into headless browsers and stuff. And it takes ages, it uses tons of resources, and we don't want a gymnasium business model. What can we do? If the team from Manus were here, I would say to them, I don't know. I haven't solved it. Nobody has solved it. Nobody. But stepping back and looking at the grand picture, I said that the hurricane's leaving. So I'll leave you with more of a sort of 30,000 foot view of how I see things. We have a problem with computation. And there are a few different approaches to dealing with this challenge. By the way, I say the problems with computation. Strictly speaking, the problem is that you need to get literal browsers accessing the web, and they take up resources and RAM and time and all of that stuff. Okay, but for the purposes of brevity, we'll call it a problem of computation. Now, see the people who are doing the YouTube videos saying, I made a gazillion pound with these AI agents. Look at this new thing. Ding, 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 ding. They're basically idiots. And if they're not idiots, then they are in denial or misleading people with their let's find the beekeeper article, right? So I suppose that's one approach. We just pretend that the problem doesn't exist and we keep on dealing in low value data. And by the way, I said I was going to talk about a couple of his ideas very quickly. Another of the ideas, this was one of the top ideas that you can sell for, I think it was $1,500. And that idea was to scrape jobs, then have a thing that searches for the contact email address of the head honcho, and then send the head honcho an email. That was the thing. That was it, right? I've just saved you a 10-minute presentation. And of course, the challenge is everybody watching is thinking, I can do that with normal web development. We figured this stuff out ages ago. Like, forgive me, but that's a pretty basic thing. Anyway, as I was saying, we can go into the denial phase and just say, yay, look at the next big thing, yay, dealing with whatever drifts into the vortex before the next big thing comes along. I think it's a mugs game. And I'm telling you, my scam alert thing has gone off the charts here. I'm not impressed by it. Now, there's a second approach, which I've seen alluded to by a YouTuber that you've probably heard of called the Primogen. Is that his name? Very intelligent guy, by the way. He was saying in one of his videos, I'm going to get a Mac Mini, a really souped up one, and I'm just going to get a model on that, and I'm going to work away and I'm going to use that. So I guess that's an approach. That's a pretty good approach if you're going to be using the thing for your own personal stuff. So for example, let's imagine you're running a business and you'd like to get leads or something. Fantastic. Or let's imagine you would like to find the best holiday or something. perfect, beautiful. But the thing is, if you're talking about going into a serious industry where you're going to shake things up, like, say, the car insurance industry or something like that, you've got no chance. Your little Mac Mini's not going to cut it. In fact, I'll get 5 Mac Minis. I'll get an NVIDIA, one of the new things, like the thing you demoed. None of it's going to cut it. Even if you had a budget of $1 million to invest in as much IT hardware as you can, you're still not going to get a kick of the ball. Remember the numbers, folks. I'm telling you that the Manus team, they'd got it down to a tiny amount of questions for 40 quid a month. It's just, you're not even going to make a dent. The only people who have the hardware resources, I'm ruling out the different techniques here, right? The only people who have the resources to do this properly are people like Elon Musk. Have you seen his data center? It would put Darth Vader to shame. It's really, really impressive, and it's fortunes, right? And there's only a handful of companies who have got this type of stuff. Obviously, we've got X, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and now we're running out. Now we're starting to have problems. So I remember the guy, Sam Altman, shortly after, and by the way, I think OpenAI's in trouble. I think they're going to get whooped by Microsoft. I don't think Microsoft need them. And I think that they are actually exposed to this because how can I put this? The kings of the industry are going to be the people with the hardware. The people who have the massive, massive, big, multi-billion-dollar data centers. Last I checked, I think they are into the billions, these things, And that's who's going to be the ones. Now, I remember Sam Altman said, shortly after ChatGPT came out, he was talking about AI and doing an interview and how it's going to change the world. And the interviewer said, so are all the programmers going to be doing AI? And Sam Altman said, well, not really. He said, there's only going to be a handful of people in the front line, maybe about 5 people. But everybody else is just going to be using their stuff. And misery of all miseries, I think that's probably true. Because the only real solution I'm seeing to this technical challenge I'm talking about is to get the hardware. Do you have a few billion to spare? Oh, you don't? Okay, well, I guess that's that. So where does that leave us? Well, even if I had an answer, I probably wouldn't give you it here. But what I can tell you is this much. I'm working on this stuff every day. I really am. I look forward to showing you a demo. And the way that I'm feeling about this is I'm not wanting to spend a fortune on Mac Minis or NVIDIAs or anything like that. Right now, I'm just wanting providers that will give me massive amounts of access to their stuff at a very, very low price. And I think I know which one that would be right now, but maybe I shouldn't say it. And I think it's better to go down that road than to try buying a bunch of hardware. We're not close. It's not going to happen. Even in 10 years' time, you're not going to have the computational power to do this. It's ridiculous. So I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to be, stacking up my Mac Minis. It's just ridiculous. And I apologise if this is a bit of a downer for everybody. But like I say, the good news is that we're now going back to a meritocracy. All of those scammers, and I'm comfortable with the word, all of those scammers who are out there right now saying, I made £1 gazillion with this AI agent. Well, they'll take in a few suckers and they'll sell their books or their seminars or whatever they're doing. But that stuff's going to come and go. And at the end, there's really going to be just one thing that counts. And that is, have you done the work? Have you done the work? And if you think that tuning into YouTube every day to see what the latest AI news is, I don't think that's the work. The work is learning about the technologies, the programming languages, That's where the gold is. And there's no shortcuts and it's not easy. It's not very glamorous. But that, by my estimation, is the stuff that's going to serve you well. That's the stuff that's not going anywhere. And by the way, one other little bit of good news. I was top of Google for 7 years in the UK for the phrase website repairs. I had an office, few staff members and all of that, and I used to fix websites. So I was top for 7 years. I reckon I've fixed about 2,000 websites. Now, when I find myself going on to these AI things and saying, can you write some code for this? Can you write some code for that? It's pretty impressive. And you can sit there and in a very short space of time have all sorts of things happening, and it's amazing. It's very impressive indeed. I think they're calling it vibe coding. I've even seen a few courses learn vibe coding. Seems like everybody is getting involved in this vibe coding thing. I know I've been doing a lot. I mean, I don't call it that, but you ask, could you give me code for this? Well, take it from me. The stuff that is being produced by that type of process is virtually impossible to maintain and virtually impossible to repair. When things go wrong, nobody has a clue how to fix it. I'm very well positioned to talk about this stuff. And I've had times where I've spent 3 weeks working on a system and I'll say, oh, could you write a method that does this? Could you, in fact, I'll give you the exact method so I'm being accurate with what I'm saying. Do you know the thing you'll be familiar with this, the typewriter effect? It's when you have the AI thing and it gives you the result and it goes do-do-do-do-do and it's doing one word at a time, right? And it's streaming it from the API. That, my friend, is really, really difficult, right? You might find somebody does a wee tutorial or a little function and shows you the typewriter effect, but doing it properly, reading from the API, speeding up when it has to catch up, doing an instant render when the API has finished the task, that is really, really difficult. I spent 3 weeks on that. And that 3 weeks, I was trying to figure it out myself. Then I got Grok in, then I got Claude, I got ChatGPT. They all had a go. None of them could do it. I mean, they could write a little function that does the typewriter effect, but to put it within the context of a large system, they couldn't do it. And it took me 3 weeks to realise that if this thing breaks, I will not have a clue how to fix it. And so, some of you will know that a while ago I did a video where I was talking about how I was really exhausted and, I was kind of burnt out. Well, now you know why. Because I had been faffing about with all of this stuff. Oh, can you write this? Can you write that? And of course, what happens is, at some point down the road, you realise that it's not quite right. And what do you do then? What do you do then? Let me tell you, if I still had that business of mine with the website repairs thing, if that was still out there, I would be a gazillionaire. Because I think there's going to be you think coding's dead? No chance. I think there's going to be a long list of businesses that need help with, we'll call it website repair. You can call it web application repair if it makes you feel more intelligent. But it's going to happen. because there's a whole lot of junk code being written. We are nowhere near the stage of good old-fashioned developers being replaced. Nowhere near it. I don't think it's even going to happen in 5 years' time. So, let me be clear. This time tomorrow, I'll be tuning into my little AI system again, hopefully ticking off another day, you know. And I'm sure I'll be logging on to one of those model things and saying, could you write me a little method that does this and that? I mean, there's stuff that it's really good for. I'll be doing that just like most of you folks. But I'm getting off the bandwagon. I'm no longer participating in this game. I mean, do you really, like, let's look at the logic. Some of you have been talking about this stuff as if it's the end of the marketplace as we know it, as if this is going to replace everything. Everything's going to be, you know, different. They won't need programmers. They won't even need human beings, you know. Well, let's look at the logic. I think the Earth is 5 billion years old. It might be 5.5. And you're telling me that from all of that time to this time, it just so happens that this is the moment when the marketplace stops. This is the moment when humanity gets off the train and waves adios as the robots take over. Something flying about in here. Forgive me. Hello, little moth. Anyway, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I think honesty and hard work always prevails. Always. It's only a matter of time before you realise that as well. Go back to your tutorials. Go back to your programming language. Go back to your goals. The real goals. Not this get-rich-quick crap. The web developer extraordinaire has arrived. And tonight, I declare that web development is alive and well. Thank you for listening. Goodbye. And thanks for the thumbs ups. I have a few of them. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Reverse. I'll just give you a few comments before I go. So, Reverse, good evening to you. Hail to you. Hello. Thank you. Jonas is adding some good comments. I won't read them all. He's more clued in than me, I think. But he's... yeah, there you go. Learn the basics, understand the foundation is generally good advice. Yes, thank you, Jonas. Faster than light. Ahoy to you. Welcome. Reverse says writing code is easy. Deployment maintenance is still a hard thing compared to writing code. A little love heart. I've never seen one of them before. Thank you, whoever that was. Anyway, Reverse says writing code is easy. Deployment and maintenance is still a hard thing compared to writing code and running it local. AI has to solve ops first, but I don't know how it would do that. Exactly. Thank you very much, one and all. I appreciate you all being here. And I'm looking at myself on the camera here. I look like a ghost, but at least I've got perfect hair. And next time, I'll maybe chuck the fake tan on. Try and make myself a bit more presentable. Thank you once again. Take care, and I'll see you soon.